So coming to you from my favorite storage closet, by the way. I didn't plan to talk about the Mueller indictments, the indictments that came down on 13 Russian nationals. I didn't plan to talk about it. I thought it would speak for itself. Oh, well, I don't know. We'll figure out what's in it. I doubt it's anything that substantial, whatever. Let's wait and see. And then I started looking into it, and holy shit, it is... It takes a lot to shock me these days because I talk about this shit all the time, and I know how fucked up our world is and our government is, but holy shit, it is some of the dumbest crap I've ever seen in my life. It is amazing. Okay, let me see how quickly I can go through this. The U.S. Justice Department indicted the Russian company Internet Research Agency and 13 people that work there, right? It covers these 13 Russian people, 3 Russian legal entities. The main count of the indictment is conspiracy to defraud the United States. So Mueller describes this operation that's going on at this shady internet company, right, as a conspiracy to defraud the U.S., when in fact it seems to be an internet marketing scheme. Like this is a internet clickbait farm in St. Petersburg, created by a hot dog salesman. All right. This marketing firm, it helps promote products and groups by creating sock puppet accounts, right? Fake accounts on the internet. They then try and build up those fake personas so that they can have followers, so they can then sell that influence to whoever will pay them to post about it. This organization bought ads on Facebook for a lot of things, but there's no evidence that they were carefully tailored to influence the 2016 election. In fact, of the ads that Facebook has identified as being connected to Russia, Facebook themselves, you can look it up, this isn't me making shit up, you can look it up, Facebook themselves says 44% were before the election. Okay? Of all the things they could connect, only 44% were even before the election. That's according to Facebook themselves. On top of that, the ads in the post were for everything from these are the ones before the election, gun rights groups, to pro-LGBT groups, to groups for animal lovers, filled with memes of cute puppies. I'm not kidding. So this company is being indicted for special Counsel Robert Mueller has indicted a handful of Russians for posting puppy memes. I can't. On top of this, apparently everything Mueller claims in the indictment was already written about by Russian journalists, I'm going to mispronounce these names horribly, Polina Rasheva and Andrei Zakharov, back in October of last year. They wrote about this clickbait farm that's in St. Petersburg. And even though they agree with Mueller on some of what he says, they say that many of the people indicted are like minor employees at this company. Some of them have not worked there at the troll farm since 2014. That's according to the Washington Post, talking to the people that apparently wrote this article, which is where Mueller based all of his research because he's a fucking idiot and had to just go off of some article written by Russian journalists. One of these Russian reporters said, quote, "But most of these guys didn't work for the troll factory for a long time. They didn't even work there during the elections." That's a quote. There was a department of this internet marketing firm devoted to the U.S. audience. That is true, devoted to English speaking. Some U.S. media have falsely reported that the monthly budget of that department was $1.25 million. But in fact, that's the budget for the whole company, the Internet whatever agency, Internet Research Agency. So the U.S. department was actually far less than that. So it's not $1.25 million a month, even though that's what many media outlets are claiming. According to the stories that I've seen, the sock puppet accounts did not actually post fake news. They instead posted mainstream media stories. Nothing that like on both sides of the, apparently by one count, a certain sock puppet fake account, fake persona online, retweeted Joy Reid. If you know her, she's the like queen of the resistance on MSNBC, the faux resistance. We're gonna stop Trump by not actually doing anything to call out our system. We're just going to pretend that Russiagate is all that matters. She's the queen of that. This sock puppet account retweeted her 300 times, nearly 300 times. So it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't line up with this whole, they were trying to help Trump thing. The Mueller indictment listed 8 marches, okay, marches or rallies that supposedly, this is in the indictment, supposedly promoted by Internet Research Agency. Okay, these are rallies or marches that the Internet Research Agency either helped create or helped promote. And in the indictment, they don't report the attendance of those marches, which according to research was that I've seen, I've looked at photos, I've looked at tweets promoting the attendance of these things. Most of them was zero. 0 people showed up to these marches that these people are being indicted for. Most did not even happen. The ones that did happen, you can see the photos of the protest, of the people that came, 8 people. 2 of them had 8 people. Not including the child and the dog in the photo. Okay, there is a dog. I don't know where you'd put that on the number of attendees for the rally. Does that make it 8.5? It's tough to say. It's tough to say, folks. Did the dog even know that he was part of a Russian scheme to rig our elections? It's tough to say. Okay, we're doing the best we can. Let me back up. Let me repeat this. The fucking U.S. government is fucking indicting indicting 13 Russian clickbait workers for fucking getting 8 people and a fucking dog to stand in a fucking street for an hour with fucking Trump signs. That's the big reveal that Mueller has so far given us. And the most successful rally promoted by this company, the one that actually had, I guess, over 1,000 people, was an anti-Trump rally after the election. And probably was promoted by far more than just them, but they said something about it. Here's another quote from the indictment. Defendants and their co-conspirators typically charged certain U.S. merchants and U.S. social media sites between $25 and $50 per post for promotional content on their popular false U.S. persona accounts. That's a quote from the indictment. Now think about that for a second, what it just said. That sounds a lot like the opposite of working for the Kremlin. That sounds a lot like charging U.S. clients for the influence of your sock puppet accounts. That's not a political influence. You're just taking cash. Hey, you want me to promote this? You want me to promote that? That's why they're putting up fucking puppy memes. Because they're going wherever the money is. Hey, you pay us, we'll throw up your goddamn puppy meme. This is how a click farm works. This is how they work all over the world. So far, the Mueller investigation has found no collusion between Trump and Russia. They've said nothing about that. Now, look, I fucking hate Trump, but I want reality. I want truth, all right? They've only found a Russian internet marketing firm posting puppy memes, getting paid by Americans, and creating rallies and marches that never happened. So even if we said they were trying to influence the election, let's throw that if out there. Oh my goodness, they were trying to influence the election. The best they did was get 8 people and a dog to show up. And for that, you're indicting Russians who haven't worked at the farm since 2013. But are you ready for this? This is the most insane part. This is the part that should fucking have every media outlet livid, all right? And they're not even telling you about it. They're not even mentioning it. The most insane and horrifying part of this indictment is the precedent it could set. Think about this. Mueller is charging people with a crime for not being American and yet writing about the American election without registering as a foreign agent. As others have said, I'm not the only one to say this, as others have said, in theory, not on the mainstream media, but others in the alternative media, in theory, this could be used to indict millions of people. People all over the world write about the U.S. election and they aren't U.S. citizens, and they aren't registering as foreign agents. Journalists from all over the world come here to cover our elections because the U.S. is a powerful nation. A journalist for Bloomberg said he could be indicted because he's Russian and he writes for Bloomberg. Every single person in media in this country should be fucking furious that someone could be charged for this. What if other countries decide to do this? How many of our journalists talk about elections in other countries? Most of them. That's most of what journalism is. So if another country had this same law, could they just indict all of our journalists for election meddling in their country's politics? It's fucking nuts. And the fact that our media isn't saying a word about this is disgusting. Mueller knows that none of these Russians will ever come to America, so they won't end up in court. So this new crime he just created out of his head, writing about American elections while not being American, this new crime will not be able to be reviewed because it won't be in court. It won't be thrown out by a judge, hopefully, if there ever were. But it's not. He knows it's not going to be in front of a court. And let's move on to the last point. It says, this is another quote from the indictment. The defendant's operations included supporting the presidential campaign of Donald Trump and disparaging Hillary Clinton. That's the opening treatise of the indictment. But later in the indictment, he says they also supported campaigns to disparage or protest Donald Trump. So why in the beginning does he say that it was only to help Donald Trump and disparage Hillary Clinton? Oh, maybe because it wouldn't look so good for the main thesis, the introduction of the indictment, to say they were trying to help Donald Trump. And also they were trying to hurt Donald Trump. They were trying to do of all of the things. How dare they? It's because there was no political motive behind it. It was for the fucking clicks, you assholes. In the object of the conspiracy, this is another quote, he says, the object of the conspiracy had its objective of impairing, the organization, whatever the company, had its objective of impairing, obstructing, and defeating the lawful governmental functions of the United States by dishonest means in order to enable the defendants to interfere with U.S. political and electoral processes, including the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Interfering, obstructing, impairing the U.S. elections. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, maybe because there were organizations and fucking efforts on every side to upend this election. You've got the DNC admitting in court that they don't have to have a legitimate election, that they can fucking pick whoever they want to be the candidate and just destroy the primary process. The primary process is a joke to them. All right, the DNC said that in court. You can Google the fucking quote. So they're saying they're doing this, that these Russians are being indicted for. They do it openly. The DNC says they do it openly. In court, you have the New York Board of Elections pleading guilty to purging 100,000 likely Bernie voters during the primary. People lost their jobs for that after it came out, after it was revealed. So that's this same thing, right? That's the same conspiracy. You have closing of polling places, 70% in some states. You have purging people from the voter rolls all over the goddamn place. You have these fake provisional ballots that don't ever get counted like they did in California. You've got every step to upend this election process that has been proven, revealed, seen. We've seen it. You've got interstate cross-check that purged millions of people from the rolls. You've got gerrymandering. You've got the ongoing voter suppression in a lot of states. This is all out there. You've got the machines in the audit the machines. You can watch them be audited, or the testimony of the machine audit in Chicago, where people came up and said, yeah, we saw the machines. They were changing the numbers to make them fit because the machines aren't counting accurately. And the Chicago Board of Elections did not give a fuck. You can see all of this. It's all out there. It's all for your eyes to see. And instead, our fucking government is indicting 13 people at a click farm in Russia for posting puppy memes. Fucking think about that. Take that in. Grasp that for a second. This is a goddamn joke. And we should all know it. And I wouldn't even be making this video if this were fucking covered on our fucking media. I wouldn't even have to make this. I don't want to have to make this. I could be eating dinner right now. Anyway, fucking share this shit. Tell people. I don't care if it's my video or someone else's. Just fucking tell people to ask these questions. It's insane. All right. I don't know how many more times I can say fuck.